Hello, everybody. I'm so freaking excited because I just had inner dance session number 5. It was so good. I cannot I cannot describe how good that session was. Like honestly, it's so similar to KAP. It's like two sides of the same coin. If KAP is like fire and then inner dance is like water. And they're so perfect together. Anyway, we are still in the facilitated training. So one of the other students, she facilitated now for the first time, and she was a bit unsure because she thought like, how is this gonna work? So the music started, and the moment the music started, I just felt this connection to her. Like I saw like this white spirit energy connect, like going into her, connecting to her and connecting to me. And all of a sudden I felt my hand, I put my hand on my heart and I felt my hand go into her heart. And I felt this pure, spacious openness, this pure warmth, this sincerity. It was so beautiful, and I knew I could trust her. I knew I could just be there with her, and my body started to freak out. My body started to move, to dance. There was a lot of backflips and a lot of bridges. I did like 3 or 4 bridges, and at a certain point, I just my body wanted to scream so hard. I don't know why. There was no story attached to it, but it was just like on KAP. I just wanted to scream. I was holding it in because I have neighbors, but I just released it and I screamed as hard as I could without coming off as if there was something happening here in the house. And then I started sobbing. I don't know why these things were coming up, but they were just releasing from the body. I started sobbing, 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 and I just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. There was the awareness like, oh my God, she's looking at me, sobbing like this, but there's just like letting go, just let it go and sob. At a certain point, like I saw, like I was in space, like all of a sudden I was in space, and it was like I was traveling through space, and I became aware of the masculine and the feminine energies. There was a blue and red energy, the yin yang, and they were like so powerful, so indescribable, such beautiful, full, um, like dense colors, like like they were alive, like they had a life to them that was divine, and they were just like moving through space, shaping, creating, and I felt the energy of creation just playing, expanding, coming together, creating a reaction, creating a dance, dancing with each other, playing. It was so amazing. I like my heart melted when I felt that because it felt so close. It felt like I I know this, I recognize this. I am so happy from the session. It's like, guys, this is like drugs without drugs. And this is all on a virtual session, right? So it's like me on my mat and somebody else in Mexico on their computer playing music and being a facilitator. So after that, there was like my body went into this shock where there was like I was shaking and I was fluting a lot. I was making a lot of mudras. There was a lot of changes, and all of a sudden, I saw like a line being come up, and he took my hand, and he told me, "Igor, you have to let go. You have to let go. Don't waste your life. Don't waste your life chasing things. Don't waste your life. Don't waste the gift of life. You can keep chasing things, chasing experiences. Be a light in this world." And I saw like this feels, yeah, it's it feels very strange for me to say, right? Because I wouldn't say this, but I just saw like this clear vision of who I was meant to become. Like, I saw like that I was just a vessel for consciousness, for love, for energy, for truth to come through and to be a light in this world. Like, and I felt that. And there was this, and then he was like, all your life you've been supported. All your life has been leading up. It was all meant to be like this. Like everything that happened. And he was like, you have to release the past. You have to release the identity to your past. You are not your past. You have to cut those strings. And all of a sudden, I was like in space. It was like I was in a complete darkness and like infinite darkness. And I saw mirrors, one by one, like endless, countless mirrors before me. And I stood there, and every time I tried to look at my self-image, it broke. And the moment it broke inside of me, I felt like this sense of dying, like dying, and the mirrors kept breaking one by one, and I felt like there was just like my identifications with things that have happened in the past. They were just breaking apart. They were just, I felt the disconnect from them. They were not alive in me anymore. They were not structured in me anymore. And I became so light in my heart. I became so free and happy in my freaking heart. It's like, I cannot describe this joyous, amazing feeling. I'm sorry if I come up too much. Like, honestly, I haven't taken anything or something. This is purely energy. And they kept breaking, and my body was like, it was going through like a whirlwind. It was like so many shocks. And then I was just like in a complete emptiness. And then I saw these cords that were still attached to me, like fear and labels that people had given me, or labels that I received, that I picked up, or that I thought maybe I'm weird, I'm an immigrant. Well, that right. So when I got into spirituality, my parents thought that I was like crazy, that I was like, like there was some mental illness or something. My sister said that a lot because they didn't understand why do you go into spirituality? What is there to gain? It's not logical, right? The way we were brought up and the way we lived. And I saw these labels where I was attached to them. And so one by one, there was like an energetic core, the energetic scissor, like cutting them. And every time it was cut, I felt a release. And I felt like I saw it, and I felt like I'm not that. Like, I came when I was 10 years old. I came to Belgium from Ukraine as an immigrant. And I always felt that. Like, I always, while growing up, felt that I was not as good or worthy as the people who lived here, right? So there was always this feeling of the immigrant who's less worthy than, who's not as good as. And I felt that disappear. It's like, that's just a label, an identification, a situation which brought about a belief which I took on as true. And it just all disappeared one by one. And then I was just laying there, and my body was still, just pure stillness. Not a lot was happening. So at a certain point, I felt like I needed to sit up, and my body started to, like, this energy kept going up to my brain, and it was making like these rewiring shifts, and I felt like things shifting in my brain. And all of a sudden, I saw like these strings of energy come over my body, and they were like being, how could I say this? they were being like, they were like almost like snakes, but white strings. They were covering my body, and they were like being glued on me. And I saw how like there was like DNA being activated, and it was like glowing. And in my hands there was like a light language, like from the Matrix, like code coming into my hands, and I felt like this difference. And I was just moving, like playing with the energy inside my body. When I moved, the energy in me was responding. So I felt like, oh, this is nice. But it was so free, it was so free flowing. And then there came a point where a light being showed up, and he told me, oh, no, before that, something else. So, so this is what happened. Like, I've been having a lot of visions about a certain girl, right? And in a previous session, like, because of all these experiences, my imagination, my mind, my thoughts had created a story. She's my soulmate, she's my twin flame, we have to be together, we have to, because we have this connection, da, 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 da. But then in the session, I let all those stories go, and I realized there's just these feelings that are arising in me. There's just this connection that is there. It doesn't mean that I need to do anything about it. The issue for me was I was resisting having feelings for somebody and not being able to act upon them, or acting upon them and being rejected. So I didn't want them. And I realized I could just allow the feelings and the connection to be there. I can just, it can just be there. It's not bad or good. It's just there. It's like, I love you unconditionally. If you don't want to be with me, just let me free. And it was so clear and honest. It was like so simple. And this time, today, all of a sudden, I was in my heart space, and I was in this warmth and openness and gentleness, and my heart was just revisiting all the past memories that I had with that girl in real life. And I just saw through my heart in this warm embrace, in this warm field of embracing each other. I just saw her through the eyes of my heart, just purely, just being there, realizing without a story, I could just see her. I could just be present with her, have a moment with her, without my mind projecting, thinking, expecting, demanding. I could just be there, just share that space with her. It was so wonderful. I saw how beautiful she was. I saw we can just be friends. We don't have to have a relationship. We don't have to have any kind of experience together. We can just be friends. And it was so sweet. So at the end, oh my God. At the end, a light being came to me, and he said, Igor, you're holding on to fear. Fear that you will suffer if you let go of control. You have to let go. You have to let go. You can't waste time. You can't waste your life. Don't waste your life. You have to let go. And so, I was like, I want to let go. I really want to. It's like it's all happening in a different dimension, and my consciousness is in that different dimension having that talk. My body, like I'm unaware of my body, right? And he's like, I know, but just try. And I'm like, okay, I will try. He's like, do you trust in God? And I said, yes. He's like, can you trust more in God than you trust in your fear. And I was thinking about it, and there was like this shift in my heart, and all of a sudden I felt that energetically I was clutching onto fear. The fear that was controlling, the fear that was there to prevent some bad event from happening where I would suffer, right? To protect me. And that fear was controlling me. And I felt my hand letting go because I thought like, of course I trust more in God. He's the creator of everything. How could I not trust the creator more than some fear? So I felt letting go. And the moment my hand let go, I felt this complete release in my body. Like, it was like everything became just spacious air in my body. And everything just became light and free and joyous. And it was so sweet. God. And the moment I released, I felt embraced. I felt embraced, and I realized all my life has been run by God. All my life I've been supported by God. I believed that my ego, my fear, my control is the thing that kept me alive, is the thing that kept me from having bad experiences, from suffering. But now I realized all this time, the infinite field, the infinite space of God has always been guiding me, molding me, taking me from one experience to the other experience, giving me exactly what I needed for my development, always nurturing me, helping me grow, helping me heal, helping me learn. And I just felt that like even if something bad happens, even if something unwanted happened or something that I wouldn't want, it is because that is what is meant to happen. That is what is meant to happen according to God's plan. And maybe there's something that is needed to learn there. Maybe there's a lesson there that's needed for my evolution, for my development, for my becoming more of who I'm supposed to be, right? And I just felt like this freedom to just be, because I know I'm carried by God. I'm being danced by Him. I'm being played by Him. I'm just a note that's there, temporary note, right? There's this quote that I love: "We live in a flash of light. Evening comes, and it is night forever." There were also a lot of fears that were releasing. Fears around my voice. It was like a belief that my voice is not worthy of being heard. My voice is not, there's nothing worthy that there's to say. Like, those beliefs were there, and that's where I there were troubles expressing myself sometimes. And I felt those beliefs releasing. It just felt like, and I felt like this ability to just breathe. There was like a pressure, a tension in my throat, and I just felt it like release, relax. Also throughout the whole session, I felt the hands of the other person, the presence of the other person. Like, I literally felt, even though I was alone, like somebody was touching me, putting pressure on me. And at the end, when there was a letting go of all the fear and just trusting God and trusting His will in existence, because I always had the idea, like, I take my vitamins, I take my supplements, I do because my ego, right, remembers to do it. It remembers to do this, to do that on time, and that was keeping me safe. But now it's like, no. It's because God universe, he is reminding the ego, and the ego is bringing it in my awareness. So, but the source is the infinite field. It's not the ego. It was like the ego is not the source of life. It's not the source of my existence. It was so funny to see through that. And then there was the experience where I just was laying down and there was just breathing happening. But the breathing, it was like I was the entire universe breathing. It was like, and I literally felt my breath and my energy go beyond this world. Like infinite, contracting, infinite, contracting, infinite, contracting. And there's this freedom, this spaciousness, this joy. I was like, this is the I'm not gonna say the most or the best or whatever, but this is such an amazing session. I was so thankful to Amy. She was a facilitator, and we actually had a lot in common, and I was really curious to hear about her story. So after the session, we got up and we did a sharing, and she she told me, like, because it was her first time facilitating, she was a bit unsure. She closed off her camera, but the moment she saw that I was surrendered and the movements were happening, she was like, almost she got the confidence to surrender herself to the process, and she allowed things to happen. She was her body was also being used like a vessel. The energies were connecting. There were times where she was moving and my body was moving, so there was like a synergy happening between our energies. There was like, even though we were separated by time and space, different time zones and different space, it's like the energy, it's like it has no, it is beyond that. We were connected. We're like this, synergetically dancing together, being together, vibrating together. It was such a beautiful session. And then afterwards we did a sharing with the whole group, and it's, I mean, this work is so beautiful. I cannot describe it. I always thought that, honestly, I thought a virtual session online is not gonna cut it, right? I thought I had this idea that virtual session is okay, and an in-person session was the best. But now I realize it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Our teacher, she also said, what's most important is your confidence in the work, your confidence to let go. If you can let go, it doesn't matter. If you need somebody to work, if you need a group, it all depends on where you are. It's all very contextualized. For a certain person with certain parameters, he needs that. For another person with other parameters, he needs that more. So you have to know that for yourself. Where do you function better? How do you function the best, optimally? What do you need? I mean, I'm not gonna say like, honestly, I'm so speechless inside by this session, because this is the first time ever that I felt this kind of release of everything, like literally everything. Like, because I felt it. It was almost like facing and like not existing. It was, I don't know, it was so new to me, and it was so powerful, and I'm so grateful to have this experience. Like, I really hope that all people can experience This is freedom from fear, right? To be free of suffering and the root of suffering. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this work evolves and how my own process evolves, but I really love inner dance. I can say that for sure. Inner dance, it's like you go to this meta place where all dimensionalities are available, and you can go through all the dimensions, and you can have any kind of experience where anything can happen. You just have to be open to whatever and not expect anything. And what's really beautiful about inner dance is there's this continuity. There's this continuity of sinking deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. You just glide into this process. It's like you're going underwater and you're diving, and you're just going like diving deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and all these things are happening there. With KAP, it's like you have like explosive experiences. You have, like cathartic experiences. You have releasing. You have intense experiences. But it's always like it's a contained explosion of energy. It's like this, like like fireworks. And of course, there are moments where everything is like open and spacious, but most of the time it's like fireworks. With inner dance, it's just like, it's as if with KAP you primarily work on the foreground and you incorporate the background. With inner dance, it's like you go on the background and everything in the foreground is being incorporated. It's truly amazing. Like, honestly, like these two tools, they're something special. I can recommend it to anybody and everybody that wants to experience altered state of consciousness, that wants to find all the hidden possibilities, all the puzzles of themselves, and see how it all fits together, how the puzzle is one big maze, how it's a spiral, how it's all one interconnected thing, and it's so deep. It's amazing. At a certain point, I saw my timeline. That was really interesting. Like, I saw, like, from the moment of existing as this body, mind, right, Igor, there was like a timeline, like a white, bright light timeline, and I saw there were moments in life where the timeline was like squirrely or entangled or this and that, and I saw how the timeline was being was fueled by this white light, and the timeline was being straightened out. So there was just like this one, this endless like continuity. Like, it was the awareness of the perceiver that always was present. So it's like, when I think back, when I was a small child, when I drowned, or when I was beaten by my parents, or when I was in trouble, or when I immigrated, or when I met my first girlfriend, kissed my first girlfriend, when I first went abroad, like all those moments, what do they have in common? There was the witnessing of the happening. The circumstances were every time different, right? The body and the mind were also evolving in each circumstance. But what was always the same was the light of awareness that was always on there, like the light that makes your perception possible. It was the same here, pure, unaffected, unaltered. Here the same, here the same, here the same. It's like you throw paint in the air, nothing sticks, right? And like I can see that so clearly now. It's like this joke that they say when somebody asks an enlightened person, "Why are you happy?" And he says, "Why not?" Our natural state of being is happiness, because if you throw something up, nothing sticks, right? The things that stick, they stick to our ego, our personality, our memory of who we are, our self-image, but not to the background light, the light which is the field in which everything occurs, in which everything is made possible. Because without that awareness, without that light, there's no experience possible. There's no character possible. There's no human being possible with a personality. That's the essence, right? That's the life. Wow. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, honestly, I've been posting a lot of videos lately, and every morning when I get up, I get like some ideas. When I do breath work, I get ideas about what videos to make, and I just make them. Just make a video. Like, I know probably I could edit more, or do more work on it, and maybe make myself look better. But like, maybe I'll do that in the future. But I didn't notice that I was having a lot of comments from you guys, and also a lot of support. And I really want to thank all of you to give me a chance, and to just see what is this guy all about. It really May you all enjoy happiness and the root of happiness.